color matching can be a pain on the best of days when it comes to DTF printing, but thankfully Print Factory has made it really easy to do color matching with both Pantone colors and spot colors, and I'm going to show you the two different ways as to how you can do that. So the first way that we usually recommend when it comes to color matching is when you're color matching to a Pantone color. So this will be prevalent with brands that have their specific brand colors and repeat jobs. Easiest to stick to the Pantone colors if they've got them. But that isn't always the case. So I'm also going to show you how to match colors that aren't Pantone colors, but you might have the values for. So if you want to learn how to color match to Pantone colors in Print Factory, keep watching. If you want to learn how to color match to just normal spot colors, not using the Pantone colors, skip to this timestamp down here and you'll jump right into that. So the first way that I'm going to be showing you how you can match colors is using Pantone colors. And the first thing that you are going to need, and we strongly recommend that every print shop has one of these on hand and updates them regularly, is a Pantone swatch book. So this will be really essential to matching to a Pantone color, because otherwise you have no reference to check against when it comes to checking your prints. So you're going to bring your file into Illustrator, and we're going to need to create a spot color for the Pantone color in order for it to work with Print Factory. So going up to the top left, you'll go into Window and go all the way down to Swatches to bring up the Swatches panel. In the Swatches panel, you'll use the menu button in the top right to create a new swatch. So you're going to need to name this exactly as I'm typing it out here, obviously replacing the numbers to whatever color you're trying to match. But as you can see, I've written Pantone in all caps, a space for the number, and then a space for C. I'm going to need to set that to a spot color. So you can see now that this artwork is now using this spot color. So now we're just going to export this file to take it into Print Factory and print it out. So typically we export as a PDF and use the high quality print export. So now we're going to create a new job in Print Factory. So we're going to open up Layout and we are going to bring our exported file into Print Factory. I'm just going to move it off to the side and resize it because this isn't the final job and we're just matching the colors. You don't need to print it at the full size to save yourself ink and paper. And going to set my white. As you can see, it's already detected the spot color of the Pantone in that drop down menu. So I'm just going to use my white settings and name it something that I can identify that this is just a test and not the final job, because you don't want to get those mixed up at the end. And I'm just going to submit that one to be ripped. So you can see already that Print Factory has detected the Pantone color. So the exported image is quite blue, but it has detected the Pantone color and has tried to automatically correct for that color. But as you'll see when we print and press this one, this won't be exactly the color we need. So Print Factory is already trying to do the work for us, but we still need to correct it a bit more. So you're going to need to print that file to see how it looks in person. The standard process of printing and pressing. You can't do color matching just on the film alone, you need to press it. So using the Pantone color book, I'm going to match it to the swatch that I'm trying to match to, which is the 321C there, and I can see that I'm a little bit off. So back in Print Factory, we're going to open up the calibrator in the top left, and you're going to have to select the color profile that you're currently using with your printer. If you're not sure which one that is, just have a look in the Media tab in the RIP, and it will say the name there, which lines up to what I have on the screen here in the calibrator. So using this little arrow to the drop down, we're going to click into spot colors. and pressing this little page with the green arrow going into it brings up Print Factory's color libraries. So we're going to scroll all the way down until we find the Pantone Solid Coated M2 library. This is very important as these are the profiles that we use, the color profiles that we use when setting up your ICC profiles for printing using our printers and Print Factory. So make sure that this one is selected, and clicking open on that one will bring up this list of all the Pantone colors in that library. Now we don't want to import all of them because that would be far too many colors to be working with. We're going to click the None button, and we are going to scroll down and find the color that we are matching specifically, which is Pantone 321C, and tick the box next to that one just so that we import that one only, and click OK. So now that we've brought in that spot color, we are going to select it and click the Tune button down the bottom of the calibrator. So this will generate this color chart using a small amount of steps. So this would be really, really good for really fine tuning a color that you're very close to, but we're still a bit further off. So I'm going to increase the steps to 5 to make the color shift a bit more dramatic so that we can definitely make sure that there should be a color in there that will more closely match what we're trying to get to. So as you can see, it shifts pretty dramatically now from blue all the way through to a green. So we just need to set our white. We typically set that to flood as that puts white around everything. So it's really, really good to reference against. And then you'll just need to click print and leave it on these settings and hit OK. And that will rip a file for you to print off. So this is the printed chart here. You can see our horizontal axis and our vertical axis with all the colors in there. It has your spot color name, the amount of steps that you've used, and your original color and the value that that was set at. So you know exactly what you're referencing against and what you're referencing to. So you'll need to press this one onto a bit of fabric as well. You can never match colors when the ink is still on the film. It needs to be pressed onto a fabric. So now that that one's pressed, I'm going to use my Pantone swatch and I'm going to just sort of move it around the page and try to find a tone that matches exactly what I'm trying to match. So it's a bit difficult to see on camera. The colors look a bit different, but this one to my eye in real life matched the closest. So I can see the values underneath that patch there, say cyan 77.8% and yellow 31.7%. So back in Print Factory, you're going to double click on that spot color and swap over to the CMYK tab. And we're just going to update these numbers with the numbers that correlate to that swatch that I found matched the closest. So once you've done that, hit OK, and very important that you hit save in the top right of the calibrator there, otherwise these changes won't take place. So now the next time that you rip that file and you print that one off, it will use those updated color values that you've set up in the calibrator. And as you can see, I've got a pretty good match there now, matching to the Pantone color 321C. So every time that I bring a file into Print Factory now that has that spot color with the 321C, it will automatically match and overwrite those color values to our new color values. So now I'm going to demonstrate the second way of how to match colors in Print Factory if you're not using Pantone colors and you're just trying to match a sample that a customer has brought in. So let's say a customer brings in a shirt that they already have done and they say, can you please print this off? I'll give you the file, and you say, yep, sure, and you print it out and it looks totally different. You're not sure why. It's the same file, it's got the right values, but for whatever reason the colors just aren't lining up to what they expect. So we're going to need to match this one in Print Factory. So bringing this file into Illustrator, first of all, we'll need to set up a spot color. So in the top left of Illustrator, I'm going to go up to the window menu and I'm going to scroll all the way down until I see swatches and bring up the swatches window. In the top right of the swatches window, I'll need to click on the menu there and click new swatch. And we're going to create a spot color. So you can name this whatever you like, but it's very important that you name it something that you can very easily replicate. So that's why I'm sticking to Spot 1 with a capital S and no spaces. And as for the color type, you need to make sure that you swap that over to spot color. So I'm going to try and set up my spot color as close as I can get to the color that I'm trying to replicate just by eye and just by adjusting the values. And I'm going to export that as a PDF to print. And I'm going to make sure that I'm using the high quality print preset when exporting a PDF, as we find this yields the best results. So jumping into Print Factory now, I'm going to create a new job, which will open up Layout. And I'm going to bring my file into Layout. So because this isn't the final job and we are just trying to match colors for the moment, doesn't matter what size you printed at if you're trying to save a bit of film and a bit of ink. So I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. And you can see that Print Factory is already recognizing the spot color. So I'm just going to use my typical white settings for this white section down here, and then I'm just going to rip that one. So then you're just going to have to print that one out and press it. This is very important when you are matching any colors. You cannot match colors while the print is still on the film. You do need to press it onto a fabric in order to get accurate results. So unfortunately, we are still miles off the customer's original color. So we're going to have to fine tune the color back in Print Factory. So opening up the calibrator in the top left, we are going to select our color profile. If you're not sure which one you're using, check the information in the media tab in the RIP and match those names. So clicking this arrow will bring up a drop-down menu, and you'll just need to select spot colors in that little drop-down menu. And in the column on the right-hand side, you'll press this small little plus to add a new spot color. So it's very important when you are naming this spot color that it is exactly the same as you named the spot color in Illustrator. So as you can see, I'm naming this one Spot 1. Now swapping over to the CMYK tab. So when setting up this spot color, I'm going to use the values that my customer has told me to use, as those are the values that were set up in Illustrator. But I know these values are wrong, so now I'm going to adjust these values a bit by eye, as this color box on the left-hand side will change according to the values I have entered. So I can tell that the blue is a little strong, that there's probably little to no magenta in the color that we're trying to match to, and it definitely needs some yellow. So playing around with those values, I'm just going to get as close as I can again by eye to the color that we're trying to match, because we are still so far off. So I'm pretty happy with that sort of shade that I've hit now. So I'm going to select that spot color and click on Tune down the bottom. And this will generate this chart of different colors. As you can see, they're all very similar in shade right now, so I'm going to need to increase the step size in order to make the color shift more drastic, as we are trying to shift our color pretty far. I typically use a step size of 5, but if you have a really dramatic color shift that you need to swap to, you can go all the way up to 10, possibly even further. Or if you're really trying to finely tune a color, you can bring that one right down to 1, depending on how close you are to the color you want. So these greens down here in the bottom right are closer to the color that I'm trying to match, but I don't think I'm covering enough ground with this color chart. So because I'm still a little bit too far off, I'm going to hover over one of these color patches that is closer to the color that I want to get an idea of what sort of changes I'll have to make to my color makeup. So this patch here tells me that there's no magenta in there at all and very low black. So I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to make those changes now to the color makeup in the previous screen. So now that I've updated that a little, I'm going to open Tune again to generate a new chart, and I'm going to see if I'm getting a bit closer now. So now setting my steps back to 5 in the horizontal and vertical, I can see that I'm getting way more of these tones that I'm trying to match to, which have that sort of greenish tint to it. And now I just need to set my white to flood, which will produce white all around the chart, and hit print. And just leave it on these settings here. which are the default settings that come up, and Print Factory will rip the file for you to print. So once you've printed this chart, you'll see that it has your horizontal and vertical axis of the chart that we just created in Print Factory. So down the bottom, you'll see your spot color name, your step sizes, and the original color and value that you started with. So it's a really good point of reference to see exactly how far you're shifting. So you'll of course also need to press this. It is very important that you press this to a fabric before trying to color match. And now that I've pressed this, I'm going to grab my reference print and I'm going to slide it around the chart to see which patch lines up the best. So I found this patch here, and underneath that patch you can see the values that it requires to make up that color, which is cyan 79.2% and yellow 26.8%. So back in Print Factory, I'm going to double click on that spot color and I'm going to adjust the values to the values that were underneath the swatch that matched the closest. So it's very important that you hit save at this point, otherwise your changes won't be saved. Now that that's all done, the next time that you rip that file or rip a file with the spot color using spot 1, it will automatically override the color values to your new updated swatch. So you can see here, this is the original file that I ripped. That was the wrong color, and now using that same file, I've re-ripped it and clearly it has updated the color values. So printing and pressing that one, you can see that I have a pretty much perfect match to the reference that was provided by the customer.